Hello, today I'm going to show you how to make this card using the Rue Des Fleurs stamp set. And the main color combination here is Pool Party and Basic Black. And the Designer Series paper is from Attic Boutique Designer Series paper. And you're going to start with the larger image, which is this umbrella. And with a large stamp like this, I like to leave it on the table. And then you can take the ink pad and kind of tap it all across so you get a nice even coverage of ink. And we'll just set this right back here. We're going to stamp this on some Whisper White cardstock. I'll give you some measurements for that in just a second. So because it's on a cling mount block, we're just going to put it right in the center. And then once the stamp is down, you're going to take your time and press pretty firmly where that umbrella is. It has a lot of detail in it, so you want to make sure you get a nice clean stamping. So we'll lift that up, and then we're going to go ahead and stamp the greeting since we have the ink pad out. So do a little tap tap and line it up at the bottom here and do just a little wiggle. And then the measurement for this cardstock is 5 inches by 3 inches. So we have the umbrella, which is in the center, and the greeting at the bottom. This will allow us some space here to put the Designer Series paper along with some ribbon. So first we're going to add some adhesive on the back, and I like to go around all the edges here. And then we're going to layer this to some basic black cardstock. I have no idea where it is. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. Sorry about that. And the basic black cardstock is the same 5 inches tall, and it measures 3 3/4 across. So the top of the Whisper White is going to go to the top of the basic black, and it should line up at the bottom. But oh, see how I'm a little bit short there? So rather than cut this and stamp it again or get a larger piece here, I'm going to go ahead and cut this down the middle, and then I'll just pull it apart because you're not going to see the middle part anyway. So this will be a quick and easy repair. And sometimes that happens when you're measuring out your cardstock, you're off just a smidgen. So we can just line this up right here like that. And then we're going to line this up at the bottom. And we'll have that gap in the middle, but that's going to get covered up by our pretty paper and some nice ribbon. See, like that? Now I've already done some paper piercing on this side. I don't know if you can see it better like that. So I'm going to pull out the matte pack, and there's 3 parts. You're going to have this part to protect your table, and you're going to have the foam pad, and then your cardstock is going to go on top of the foam pad, and your piercing template is going to line up for that. Now you'll notice it's kind of hard to see the edge of the black cardstock on the black foam. So if you want, you can take just some copy paper, set it down, and then you can see where you're lining up the edge of the grid. So I like to use that dark line that goes around the edge to the edge of my cardstock. So I'm going to take a second and get that in the right spot. This is our piercing tool, and I'm going to use the top row of holes there. So I'm just going to go right down the line. You want to make sure that your template doesn't shift out of position, so I always kind of double check that to make sure that line is in the right spot. Now we'll get to the end of the foam pad, and I'll have to scoot this over to finish poking it, but I'll go as far as I can get. So now we're going to scoot this over a little bit, and you do want to take your time and line up the holes to what you've already poked. And again, I'm going to get that black line to the top of the black cardstock. And then you just kind of finish poking. I think I started in the right spot. We'll find out. It's black, so I think if I'm off a little bit, it'll be less noticeable. Hey, that looks pretty good. So here's our piercing on both sides. So we can set aside the piercing template. We can go ahead and add our little strip of Designer Series paper. Put some adhesive on the back of this. This is going to cover up our gap in the middle. So we're just going to make sure this is nice and straight. This should go edge to edge. Again, I'm just going to fuss a little bit till I'm straight, okay? And then clean up the edges there. Now I have some ribbon, some basic black 1/8 inch taffeta ribbon, which I think will look nice on this card, and I'm going to apply it in 2 pieces. So I'm going to cut one piece a little bit longer. I'm going to turn this over. Go ahead and put some adhesive here. Actually, I can go ahead and do the whole thing. I'm not going to put the adhesive over the piercing part because it'll kind of flatten that out, and it won't look as nice. So I'm just going to go inside that. So we're going to take our Pool Party cardstock, and again, this is 8.5 by 5.5, and it's folded at the 4 1/4 mark. And that's your standard card size. Oh, I can't glue it down just yet, but we will in a second. Okay, so we have the little piece of ribbon like this. We've already put our adhesive on the back, so we can just line up our ribbon on the front, tuck that back there, and tuck this back here. Whenever I apply ribbon like this, I always like to put a little more tape on the back, right on top of that ribbon, just to make sure it doesn't scoot or slide out. So now we're going to put it on the front of the card here. Clean up that edge right there. So let's see here. Okay, so get that kind of centered. There we go. And we want to add the little umbrella piece. So see how on this one we've cut out a separate one and popped it up. So we want to give this a little more dimension. So we're going to scoot this off for a second. I've already stamped the umbrella piece here on scratch paper. And we're just going to use our Stampin' Right marker. This is Pool Party. This is a fine tip and the brush tip here. We're going to go for the brush tip. And I'm going to color in the top part. And what's nice about this is the Pool Party is just light enough that you can do direct marker to paper and it's not too dark. On the lighter colors, like the soft subtles, I think it looks nice to just do the marker direct to paper. Some of the other darker colors, if you do that, it comes out a little darker than what you'd like. So this one's fine because it's a nice light blue. So you can see how quick it was to color that in. We're going to add a little detail along this little border here, just a little bit of color. I don't worry too much if I get outside the lines a little bit. They're going to be so enamored with the card, they won't notice any little imperfections, right? There we go. It's also part of being homemade. So that's all we're going to do as far as coloring for that. When I'm trimming, I like to go ahead and cut this so it's a little easier to handle. So I just kind of trim that down. And I'm not going to cut right on the line of the umbrella. I'm going to give myself a little wiggle room and cut just outside the line. So I hope you can see this. So I'm just going to follow the edge. And I'm not right up against it. I guess, like maybe 1/16 of an inch if you're looking for a measurement. But you really just want to be outside the line. It's okay if your line isn't straight or smooth, because we're also layering this onto Whisper White cardstock, so it's just less noticeable. And I did cut off the tip of the umbrella there. So I'm just going to go back over here. And you just want to try to have nice smooth cuts. But again, because we're leaving a little bit of the edge with the Whisper White cardstock, when we layer it onto the same color cardstock, it's just not as noticeable. So we're just going to keep going. And you can just kind of wiggle it around these little scallopy parts here. Some of my customers call this fussy cutting. Some like it and some don't. The card would be cute even if you don't pop it up, but I like fussy cutting, so I'm okay with a little extra work for this part. And you can see we're already almost done. So we just kind of go in and out. There we go. And then you get to the end, and you're all done. So we're going to go ahead and put some dimensionals on the back of these. And I don't know if I'm going to use all 4, but I'll start with that and see what happens. Actually, 3 is probably going to be fine for this. So we'll put that guy back. We'll peel these off, toss them around. Somebody will pick that up later. So now we're going to put this right on top of the umbrella that's on the front of the card. And see how you don't really even notice the outline for where we trimmed it because it's on white cardstock as well. So the last thing we want to do is we need to, I have a little boo-boo right there. I'm going to see if I can rub that off. Yeah, there we go. So we need to add a little knot here on the end. And I don't want to slip it under and tie the knot because it'll get kind of lumpy. So I'm just going to tie a knot like this. We're going to trim it, and then we'll trim the other side as well. And we're just going to attach it to the front of the card with a mini glue dot. So the glue dots come on a roll. You want to leave enough of a tail to keep them covered because they are on the outside. So you just take the ribbon and press it to the glue dot and lift that up. Decide where you want to put your little knot and glue that down. Oh, we need to color in this little flower on the umbrella, so we'll go back to the marker. And then we just have one more detail before we're done. Oh, we have a couple more details actually. So we're going to add some rhinestones here, and we're going to use a pokey tool to lift them up. Now these rhinestones come all connected, but I've already separated them with the X-Acto knife. So I'm just going to pop this up, and I'm going to put one right about here. I think I'm going to end up with 5. So I'm going to do one the opposite side so I kind of have it even. So of course one's going to go in the middle, right about here. And these are going to go in the end because it needs just one more on each end. And you can see how that already kind of brightens up the card with just a little bit of sparkle, right? So then we're going to put one here on the end of this little flourish for the thanks. Okay, and then, oh, crystal effects. Okay, so we'll put this away. Your crystal effects gives a nice shiny clear lacquer finish, and a little bit goes a long way. So I don't know if you can see, it comes to the tip right here. So once I get a little bit there, get all the little air bubbles out, and then I'm just going to kind of tap it to the card. So I'm not really squeezing that much, especially on those tiny ones. This probably will take about 15 or 20 minutes to dry. If it's raining outside, it might take a little bit longer, but it just gives a nice little finish to the card. So it looks like actual clock faces on here. And I think we're done. Pretty, huh?